Sunday dinners had always been my mother's favorite tradition. Every week, she insisted the entire family gather around the same dining table. No excuses, no exceptions. She loved saying that family always came first. Looking back, I realized something strange. Family always came first. As long as I was the one making the sacrifices. My name is Emma Carter. I was 36 years old. A widowed mother raising my 12-year-old daughter, Chloe. 3 years earlier, my husband, Michael, had lost his battle with cancer. The house we had built together became more than a place to live. Every room carried memories. His favorite coffee mug still sat inside the kitchen cabinet. The oak tree he planted the day Chloe was born had grown taller than the roof. His workshop remained exactly as he had left it. Whenever Chloe missed her father, she liked sitting quietly inside that room. It made her feel close to him. Very few people understood that, especially my mother. To her, the house represented something else. Space. For bedrooms. A finished basement. A large backyard. In her eyes, it was simply too much house for two people. That Sunday evening, dinner had almost ended. Everyone laughed while eating dessert. My younger brother Tyler complained about apartment prices. His wife Ashley rolled her eyes dramatically. Our landlord sold the building. We have to move next month. Mom immediately placed a comforting hand on Ashley's shoulder. Don't worry. I've already solved everything. Something about the confidence in her voice made me uneasy. She stood up, tapped her spoon against a glass. I have wonderful news. The room became quiet. Mom smiled proudly. As everyone knows, Tyler, Ashley, and the boys need somewhere to stay. Several relatives nodded sympathetically. Then she looked directly at me. So we've decided they'll move into Emma's house. The room erupted into approving smiles. My aunt even clapped softly. I stared at my mother. I'm sorry. Mom laughed. Your father, Tyler, Ashley, and I. I blinked. You discussed my house. Without asking me. Tyler shrugged casually. We knew you'd understand. Ashley smiled. The boys are so excited. They already picked which bedroom they want. I looked toward Chloe. She had quietly stopped eating. Her spoon rested untouched beside her bowl. I asked gently, what about Chloe's room? Ashley answered before anyone else could. Oh, she'll share. I frowned. Share with who? The boys. They're only 6 and 8. They won't mind. Chloe slowly lowered her head. Mom noticed. Instead of comforting her, she smiled. See, she's such a sweet girl. I reached across the table and held my daughter's hand. She hasn't agreed. Mom sighed. Emma, children adjust. I quietly answered. So do adults. Tyler laughed. Exactly. So let's all adjust. Everyone except Dad chuckled. Dad remained unusually quiet. He kept staring at his plate. I knew that look. He disagreed. But years of avoiding arguments with Mom had taught him silence. Mom continued planning aloud. The boys can use Michael's old workshop for a playroom. I felt something inside me tighten. No. The room became still. Mom looked surprised. What? Michael's workshop stays exactly as it is. Ashley smiled politely. Emma, it's been 3 years. Children need space more than old tools. I looked directly at her. They're not old tools. They belong to my husband. Tyler leaned back. You're being emotional. I answered calmly. No. I'm protecting my daughter's memories. Mom's patience disappeared. Honestly, this house has become a museum. Michael wouldn't want that. The words hurt more than I expected. None of them had the right to decide what Michael would have wanted. Only Chloe and I had lived through those final months. Only we remembered the promises we made to him. I took a slow breath. When exactly were you planning to move them in? Tyler smiled confidently. Next Saturday. The moving truck is already booked. Ashley added. We've started packing. I looked around the table. Everything had already been arranged. Without me. Without Chloe. Without a single conversation. Mom folded her arms. So, everything's settled. I remained silent for several seconds. Then I smiled. You're right. Mom immediately relaxed. I knew you'd do the right thing. Tyler grinned. I'll bring the keys back after making copies. I quietly answered. That won't be necessary. He laughed. We'll talk about that later. Dinner ended with everyone congratulating Mom for solving the problem. Nobody noticed Chloe quietly crying during the drive home. That night, she knocked softly on my bedroom door. Mom, are they really taking Dad's room? I hugged her tightly. No, but Grandma said. I know. She looked up at me. What are we going to do? I smiled for the first time all evening. We're going to let everyone believe exactly what they want. Until Saturday. 3 months earlier, after struggling to maintain the large property alone, I had quietly entered into a legal partnership with someone my family had completely forgotten about. Someone whose name was already listed on the deed. Someone who loved Michael almost as much as we did. As I placed the property documents back inside my desk drawer, I looked at the signature beside mine and smiled. Because when Tyler's moving truck arrived the following Saturday, expecting free housing, the first person waiting on the front porch beside Chloe and me would be the one family member my mother never imagined had every legal right to say one simple word. Saturday morning arrived right on schedule. At exactly 9 o'clock, a large moving truck pulled into my driveway. Tyler climbed out first, smiling as if he already owned the place. Ashley followed with their 2 boys. A few minutes later, my mother and father arrived in separate cars. Mom carried a box labeled kitchen. She waved cheerfully. I knew you'd come around. Chloe quietly stood beside me on the front porch. She held my hand tightly. Then another car pulled into the driveway. A silver pickup truck. The driver stepped out carrying a leather folder. The moment my mother saw him, the smile vanished from her face. Robert. My father slowly looked up. Michael's older brother, Robert Carter, walked toward us. He hugged Chloe first. Then he hugged me. Finally, he turned to the rest of the family. Good morning. Mom frowned. What are you doing here? Robert calmly opened the folder. I'm here because Emma asked me to be. He removed several documents. 3 months earlier, after Emma realized she could no longer afford every repair on the aging house alone, Robert had proposed a legal partnership. He had invested his savings to help refinance the mortgage, renovate the roof, and preserve the home Michael loved. In return, his name had been legally added as a co-owner. Not because Emma wanted to give away the house. Because she wanted someone she trusted to help protect it for Chloe's future. Robert handed Tyler a copy of the deed. I thought you should read this. Tyler frowned. What is this? The ownership records. Ashley quickly scanned the page. Her confident smile disappeared. There are 2 owners. Robert nodded. Emma. And me. Mom looked confused. You never told us. Emma answered quietly. Nobody asked. Tyler folded the papers angrily. So, you still said we could move in. I said you could move in. I never said you'd stay. Everyone stared at me. I continued calmly. You announced your decision before asking. So I decided to let everyone arrive. Before explaining mine, Mom's face turned red. You embarrassed this family. I looked around the driveway. No. You assumed control over property that wasn't yours. Robert stepped forward. As co-owner, I do not consent to anyone moving into this home. The answer is no. Tyler threw his hands into the air. Where are we supposed to go? Dad quietly spoke for the first time. The apartment your company offered last week. Tyler froze. Everyone turned toward Dad. What apartment? Dad sighed. I wasn't supposed to mention it. But enough is enough. He looked directly at Tyler. Your employer offered temporary corporate housing. You refused because you wanted a bigger house. Ashley looked shocked. You told me they only offered a hotel. Tyler couldn't answer. Dad continued. They offered a 3-bedroom townhouse. Rent-free. For 6 months. The silence was deafening. Ashley stared at her husband. You lied. He looked away. I thought. Emma's place was better. Mom tried to interrupt. He only wanted what was best for his children. I quietly answered. No. He wanted what was easiest for himself. Chloe finally spoke. Her voice was small but steady. I didn't want to lose my daddy's room. Everyone looked at her. Robert knelt beside his niece. You won't. I promised your father I'd always help look after this house if it was ever needed. Chloe hugged him tightly. I know. Watching them together, my father wiped away a tear. He quietly turned to my mother. We've expected Emma to sacrifice for years. We asked. No. He shook his head. We stopped asking a long time ago. Mom lowered her eyes. She couldn't deny it. Every family emergency had somehow become Emma's responsibility. The reliable daughter. The one who always said yes. The one who would understand. Until now. Tyler slowly walked toward me. I'm sorry. I honestly thought you'd agree. I smiled sadly. That's exactly the problem. You never wondered whether I wanted to. Ashley quietly apologized too. I should have asked instead of assuming. I nodded. Thank you. Robert handed Tyler the folder containing the address of the company townhouse. Go see it. If it truly doesn't work, We'll all sit down together and discuss real solutions. Together. Not for Emma. With Emma, that single word changed everything. Together. Not decisions made behind closed doors. Not announcements disguised as family meetings. Real conversations. Over the following months, things slowly improved. Tyler accepted the townhouse. It turned out to be spacious, close to his job, and perfect for his boys. Ashley later admitted they actually liked it better than they expected. My mother struggled the most. For years she believed making decisions for everyone was the same as helping them. Eventually, she began asking instead of announcing. One Sunday, she invited us to dinner again. This time, before serving dessert, she smiled awkwardly. I have an idea. Then she laughed softly. But first, I'd like everyone's opinion. The room chuckled. Even Chloe smiled. After dinner, we all walked through the backyard. The oak tree Michael had planted swayed gently in the evening breeze. Robert placed a hand on its trunk. Your brother would be happy. I looked toward Chloe. She was laughing with her cousins. Safe. Secure. Still surrounded by the memories of her father. In that moment, I realized something important. Setting boundaries doesn't destroy a family. Unspoken expectations do. Love doesn't require surrendering your home, your peace, or your child's sense of security. Real love respects both generosity and consent, because a gift freely given can strengthen a family. But something taken through pressure or entitlement only creates resentment. That Saturday, my family didn't just learn that my house wasn't theirs to give away. They learned something even more valuable. The word no isn't the opposite of love. Sometimes, it's the strongest way to protect the people and the promises that matter most.